Okay, good morning. It is Friday. It is August 22nd. I have been gone for a long time. I'm not completely out of the weather loop. I was paying attention. I was all over the Western United States doing a bunch of stuff, and we'll talk about that at another time. Only because there's so much going on right now. We got the heat advisories, heat warnings through today and into tomorrow. Air quality alerts for parts of Northern California near the Picket Fire. And then a general cooling trend coming, but just lots to talk about. Again, I've been gone for a while, so going to hit the ground running. This is a live, this is the right now webcam from or website from National Weather Service. They've got the hot temperatures or heat advisories, which are down here. The orange areas represent the heat advisories. The purple areas represent the heat warnings, which is, it's all a big deal. Heat's a big deal, and it certainly elevates our fire danger. Here we are into August. This is, to me, the red zone of fire danger, August through until the first rain. And we've got a little fire, a big fire, and the Picket Fire outside Calistoga. I shouldn't say little fire, but not horribly concerned because of the work that was done by CAL FIRE last night, being able to fly in the evenings using helicopters, tankers, and they just hit it really hard. So it's at 2,000 acres. It started off fast last night. It went to 1,000 acres very quickly. This is the Picket Fire. This is Calistoga right here. These are evacuation zones. This is a mandatory evacuation zone. Let's see if I can get my thing going here. There it is. Okay. Sorry, it's been a little while. This is the mandatory evacuation zone here. And then these are areas to be concerned about potentially evacuating, advisories or warnings. This is a go now thing. But in this zone near the Picket Fire off Picket Road, you've got not a lot going on in terms of population. So it's not burning in an area that is highly populated or even I'd say sparsely populated, which is still matters if you have a ranch out there. But the winds today are a little more westerly or southwesterly. The temperatures this morning are cooler. Humidities are higher. Let's take a little inside baseball here with the fire. This is watchduty.org. The thing that I always look at first thing is there's the evacuation orders. And then let's see, 350 total personnel working on this fire overnight. During Friday, there were 75 engines, 8 hand crews, and 15 dozers, 10 water tenders, and numerous air tankers and helicopters. So the amount of effort going into this fire is not unprecedented because that's what CAL FIRE's been doing this whole season, last couple seasons. They hit it hard and they hit it fast. Now, this is this morning. So here we are. This is about 8 o'clock, a little earlier than that, maybe 8 o'clock, 8:15. And then this is the smoke from the Calistoga fire. And you can see it. So at night it settled down. The humidities are way up. We'll show you that coming up in a minute. But you can see the smoke, air quality in the Calistoga area, not as horrible as you'd think because the winds are blowing kind of westerly. Westerly is a good direction for this fire smoke to be blowing. This is overnight, looking from the north. And you can see it's fire settled down, smoke plume. Still a big fire, still concern. But again, the amount of resources that got on this fire last night was awesome. And it'll be awesome again today. Listen, it's a heat advisory. It's not a red flag warning condition, really. It's hot for sure, but you're not seeing big, strong winds. So that's awesome in terms of firefighting. And I suspect that CAL FIRE will get a good handle on this today. And then we are heading for a cooling trend. We're not staring at some wind event coming down the road. At least nothing's indicated on the models. So this is Meso-West, or actually this is the live right now surface observations from the National Weather Service. I know it's taken me a little while to get back into it, man. It's funny. I took 4 weeks, longest I've ever taken in my entire life, ever, even when I was a little kid, and a week and a half, 2 weeks when we'd go on family vacation. But I took 4.5 weeks and just did what I do. It was awesome. And now I'm back. I miss doing weather though. I really do. I did it for my own region, like that thing we're trying to learn how to do here, how I would pull up the the satellite or the radar or whatever. Or I pull up the GFS for just to see the trend of where I was, but I didn't do comprehensive stuff. So here's the observations. Here is Napa right here. Okay. Let me see if I can get my arrow going again. Okay, good. Yeah, okay, there's Napa. And then so Calistoga, St. Helena's up in here. Calistoga, this is that Yountville area. Calistoga, the Napa Valley, essentially. And the winds are blowing, if you look, they're kind of light and variable right now. But if I pull up this guy, right, let's go to Yountville's numbers. I think what strikes me as awesome in terms of firefighting is that 54% relative humidity in the Napa Valley right now. Temperature 66 degrees, dew point 48%. Winds are gusting to 4 miles per hour. So it's not a real, there'll be some breezes this afternoon for sure, but it looks like the conditions are manageable. So that's my hope for CAL FIRE is that they get a good day today, and it looks like they will. Temperatures have really fallen off because you got fog back at the coast. You've got a small craft advisory along the coast. You see that purple area. Orange area represents the heat advisory and an onshore flow. And you see pretty significant onshore flow here, 20 knots from gusting offshore. So the winds are trending the right way in terms of increasing fuel moistures, increasing humidity. So that's what I'm looking for. We're also now looking for air quality stuff. Yeah, come on, load up. And as you would expect, the Napa Valley. So here's us, or here's California. I'll go all the way down to my friends in LA. And this thing takes a little while. This is purple air. It takes a little bit to populate. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, so okay, LA's got a little bit of morning commute stuff, but then up in the Napa area, east of Santa Rosa, you see some numbers, but really this smoke is blowing away from the populated urban areas. It's blowing up into Angwin. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I mean, people live up there, but it's not like this is blowing into downtown Napa or downtown Santa Rosa. So the air quality, it's bad if you're here, for sure, and here, for sure, but it's not bad if you're in Sonoma, Roanoke Park, or Petaluma. Now that will change a little bit as we go through the next couple of days as that fire smolders a little bit. So what did we say? When I look at fires, I've been through the Oakland fire storm. I've been through Coffee Park. I've been through Paradise. I know I've been around a lot of fires, big fires, and the things I look for. I mean, certainly it's a fire. It's dangerous, but the conditions coming up are not horrible. The conditions going in were not horrible. CAL FIRE has upped its game, in the Forest Service have upped their games immensely. It's really, I mean, it's kind of, God, in terms of just, because like I told you, in the old days, I was a television broadcaster for 40 years in a big market in San Francisco. And I'd see a fire and I'd wait for air support. Like I'd go, okay, they'll probably have air support tomorrow morning, right? Couldn't fly at night, didn't have the Blackhawks. But we would always, rarely would I see a quick response, but just we didn't have the resources. Now we have resources. Here's the fog this morning, and you can see it along the coast. There it is, and you can see fog in the Salinas Valley, and you see smoke from, it looks like smoke. I think that's smoke. Definitely smoke for sure. This is fog because it's how it contours to the valley. Right? Contours to the landscape, contours to the Salinas Valley. My friends down in Southern California, you can see a little bit of fog down there, but not bad. Really nice weather. Smoke not too bad. And in the mountains, we might see some thunderstorms coming up. Some monsoonal moisture shows up. We'll look at that in a minute as well. Here is back home. When I say back home, I live close to this area. This is Mount Tamalpais marine layer. The inversion is back. It's been around, right? It just the offshore flow made it difficult for the fog to form. What can I tell you about this? I can just tell you that, it's kind of a long time. It was awesome. I've never, 4 weeks. Like, who does that? Who does that? I went with my wife and my kids. We kind of cycled people in and out. I'll show you pictures and stuff at some point. But went up on a river called the Selway. which is one of the most. You fly in on a bush plane. I went with a bunch of fly fishing buddies, and you fly in. It's a kind of hairy flight, but it's like one of the most remote parts of I think it is the most remote area in the contiguous United States, which is hard to do, right? It's not Alaska. Certainly, you can get more remote, but Selway River in Idaho, especially the upper part, is pretty remote. So that was awesome. A lot of good wildlife stuff. Then the fishing was ridiculous. We don't eat them, because they're so pretty. How can you eat a trout, right? And plus, well, I'll get into that in no time. Okay, so here is the inversion. And you see it's about 1,000 feet, right? So here's where it was yesterday. So the blue line represents the height. So the height, this is 1,000 feet, right? So right now the inversion is about 1,200 feet. And yesterday, or last night late, it was just barely there. And then yesterday all day it was below. It was like 800 feet. That kind of shallow inversion where you see the towers of the Golden Gate Bridge sticking out of the fog. Right, so the deck of the bridge is at 220 feet. The towers are over 700 feet. So about 700 foot inversion, you just got the towers peeking through, and it makes for beautiful photography. And people love that, photographers. When I was starting on TV before the internet, I would work with photographers and people who'd shot commercials, because they go, we want the bridge to look this way, and so my job was to find them the day that they could have the towers poking out of the inversion, out of the fog. These are the temperatures from today. A lot of things were interesting before. These are temperatures for and from today. A lot of interesting things before the internet, right? Certainly when you think about it. 102 up in Garberville, Buck 5 in Redding, 102 in Sacramento. It's going to be a little bit cooler around the bay today. There's still a heat advisory for many, but that marine layer, the onshore flow, that's going to help Cal Fire with that Calistoga fire, at least is the anticipation. 106 in Tulare. 70 degrees, kind of in that's like Catalina. I think, that's probably 80 degrees in San Diego, 83 degrees. Los Angeles, 90 degrees. Santa Barbara, 82 degrees. And then you got I could never live down there. I just couldn't, I could not manage. I couldn't do it. When I say down there, I mean like Phoenix. I know they're not sweltering, but man, Buck 11, and that's not a bad day. So in Nevada, just spent yesterday driving through Nevada. That's a story, right? Nevada is interesting, especially that part in, Elko, Winnemucca, and stuff like that. Okay, so now we haven't looked at this in a while. So remember, this is upper air chart, 500 millibar vorticity. The greens, the yellows, and the reds represent mixing or instability. Shear of some sort. Usually the reds and the yellows would represent a counterclockwise shear, which would represent a low pressure or vorticity. And all you need to know is when you see that's a trough, right? I know, I feel like we're going back to school again, huh? And the kids are back in school. And then there's ridge of high pressure. That's why there's heat. And that trough off the East Coast, which is helping boot Hurricane Erin off. So what do we see? When I look at this, coming in cold, because I haven't looked at one of these I haven't looked at the vorticity maximum in a couple of days. You see the big ridge of high pressure here. You see it start, a little sub-monsoonal moisture coming up. We'll look at that for Lake Tahoe. And we see essentially a slight cooling trend. Is that basically that bullseye? See that bullseye right there? Oh, that 5940 number? That's a high pressure. That's the center. It reaches out, and then it starts to crumble. And it's crumbling in response to some instability being driven through the reds and yellows, the wind shear. So definitely cooling. Nothing, and then these are drive-bys, that's definitely cooling. So the cooling will start tomorrow, and it started today, really, for the Bay Area and parts of the Sacramento area, but it's still going to be hot. Heat advisory through tomorrow. But I think tomorrow will be noticeably cooler around Central California, not so much Southern California, and then tomorrow Saturday, then by Sunday, market cooling everywhere. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we kind of go back to a mild to average temperature pattern. That's the plan anyway. Here is the North American model. We're looking for, at this point, afternoon thunderstorms. This is this afternoon today. And you see it kind of around Bishop, not even further north, like Bear Valley, maybe South Lake Tahoe, nothing. So a little bit of something this afternoon. And then I think tomorrow, yeah. Then here we are tomorrow afternoon. Then you see that's Reno, Lake Tahoe. That's a pretty good surge of subtropical moisture. So I think tomorrow afternoon it's going to be pretty bumpy flying into Truckee. But not this afternoon to be bumpy as well. And then you see some more of that monsoonal moisture. That monsoonal moisture so that it looks like a few days. So this is not our first, but this is one of the more extended periods of, at least the model showing, of monsoonal moisture availability for the Tahoe area. I know. I haven't talked for a long time either. It's funny, when we were on this fishing trip, there's a bunch of guys, but it's awesome about fishing is it's like nobody talks, we just fish, right? And so it's kind of, you go days, you say hi, have a beer, but it's not like, you go from 8 in the morning to 8 at night, and you're just talking to yourself and fish. It's awesome, especially in those remote areas. Okay, here's Erin, Hurricane Erin, and it's moving off. That's a story unto itself. Here's that low we were tracking. Here's that monsoonal moisture. See it bubbling up, Gulf of California, and how it rides up, right? That's a classic pattern. And so this moisture, see, there's a little bit of subtropical activity down here. So that moisture is all going to start streaming up into the eastern slope of the Sierra Nevada, starting in about 24 hours. So let me make this right. Hang on. I'm trying to get used to doing this again because there's a lot of little behind the scenes stuff going on. Like, because I have 2 different pieces of software, like one camera, and then, it's kind of weird. So I've got all these little things that when I came back, I forgot my passwords. I'm like, really, what's your password to get into your email? I don't know. Oh, and I couldn't get onto my laptop because I haven't been on my laptop. So I forgot the password there too. So I know. That's, I think, a good vacation. Okay. Real hot. This is today and tomorrow. You can see the extreme heat. That's red flag warning. Extreme heat warning here. We don't really have red flag warnings, but we have the Picket Fire, and a couple of little fires burning. West Coast baking, and we saw that because of the ridge of high pressure, and then that's troughing out and sending Erin moisture out. So okay, U.S. map. All right. Thanks for bearing with me. I'll be smoother tomorrow. Going down to see Dad this afternoon. Not doing well. Awesome though. 98 years old. So I'm excited about it. It's kind of, I haven't seen him since I haven't seen him. I just got back last night. So I think, we might be in our last little legs here. But he's awesome. It's pretty cool. We'll talk about that too. Okay, so these are the temperatures this is today. There's the heat in the west. There's 83 in Philadelphia, or 85 in Philadelphia, 82 in New York, 94 in Dallas. Right, yeah. Okay, that's summertime. I like that. And then smoke model. Why do you do this, Bo? I don't know. I like the smoke model. I just like to see where, like I was surprised. I was all over this area, like from Montana. I kind of was all in here for like 4 weeks, and it was surprisingly unsmoky, right? I grew up in these areas, so it's this time of year, it's smoky, right? And look at Oregon, not bad. There's fires and stuff. Montana had a bunch of fires when we were up there, but the smoke, not that prolific. So, and the East Coast got out, remember when they had that Canadian wildfire smoke? That's gone away for them. So let's see here. We got the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. It's telling us above average. And thanks for the nice thoughts when I was gone. I got lots of nice emails and texts. Above average, right? 6 to 10 day outlook. So what's that tell me? It's below average. I don't know what it tells me. It tells you what it tells you. I don't know. It's a moving target, but I do like looking at it because at least it gives you a wheelhouse. You're like, okay, somewhere in here, we shouldn't be below average, but maybe we'll be at average or above average. But just gives you an idea. Okay, maybe you got a wedding coming up and worried about in the next 6 to 10 days, and you're worried about San Francisco. You go, okay, it's not going to rain, or at least it's not supposed to. It's not a direct forecast. It's more of a kind of a broad brush. This is the swell. When I was gone, dang, I heard the swell was jamming. I got calls from all over the place, and I missed that. I missed that good swell. Swell's down today, but this is the energy coming out of the off the ITZZ, the intertropical convergence zone, or the equator area. And you can see some south swell. LA's, like, again, Trussell's, you're still just getting swell. You see Costa Rica, that's that red. I like this map because it does show that, it's still winter in the southern hemisphere, because that's where all this energy is coming from. But it also just shows, it just kind of shows you wave energy. So the wave energy is coming from the south most of this next 10 days. So if you're a diver or fisherman, whatever, you kind of go, you log that in. And you know what that means, a south swell. And if you're a surfer, you know what a south swell means too. I hope. You should know. Here is Ocean Beach. The fog is in. It is very foggy. The inversion is 1,200 feet. Wasn't foggy yesterday. It was breezy though. And yeah, bumpy day. And then this is, hello, that's Santa Cruz. That's Steamer's Lane. Wow, that's something, huh? So it's fogged in pretty good. Let's see what we got here. Oh, now we're cooking. Thanks for hanging in, you guys. I'm getting to the penguins, or what do we look at? Puffins. They look like penguins. I love that. That's Mount Shasta this morning. It's taking a while to load. Thanks for hanging in. Weather off the front, right? So this is what I want to do on the back. This coffee talk. Sun comes up. Not too bad on the smoke. You see some of that orange in the background off Shasta? That's the smoke up there in Ida. Little with the smoke we saw in the smoke model. So when you see orange, where is it? Right there. See that orange color? That's all that is right. Smoke particulate gets in the air, and the sun hits it. It bends the particulate bends the light into a color spectrum, right? It's a sunset, right? But when you see it, even though I know the sun's coming up in the east, that orange would represent the smoke. So yeah, little things like that are awesome. Merced, why did you go to Merced, Bill? I don't know. I just like the Central Valley. Not too smoky. It's gonna be hot today. Fresno, Merced, you guys are going to be in the 103, 104 range, and you can see why we have wildfire concerns. Just look how dry everything is, and this is the time of year. The thing I'm most worried about is that from now till the first rain, because those tweaks that go through when we look at these guys right here. I'm gonna do it. I think I can get away with this. Let's see. These guys right here. So when I go down the road, see those two right there, stuff like that. Once it goes through, the high that one especially, the high will try to build in. So this is around September 4th, and the potential for a bit of a wind event occurs. And then this is the time of year. This is called the transition season, transitioning back into fall or into fall. Not quite, but almost. When you transition, these drive-by systems come through. They create dynamics in the winter that would be rain, but this time of year they create a dynamic where the low creates a vacuum, the high builds in, goes offshore, red flag warnings, bad fire danger. So I'm not saying this will do that, but when you start seeing these systems, and then as we get deeper into winter, they just become rain because the jet stream's further south. And yeah, I bet you knew that. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, this is Laguna Beach. My friend Dan McInerney lives down here. And when I go visit him, I love Laguna Beach. When I go visit him, I ride these hills all the time. It's awesome. And I know there's a bench right over here that I sit in. Okay, enough about me. Jellyfish. Okay, come on. Right? Like, what's going on there? I know. And are they swimming upside down or are they right side up? Yes. I wonder. Okay, you guys will know that. Right side up, upside down. Let me know. You know what I mean? And is that maybe they float up and then those tentacles go out on the surface and grab nutrients? Know nothing. Know zero about jellyfish. Know that Erin, Hurricane Erin, just blew up the Puffins, right? Because the swell. It's pretty good swell. New Jersey, I saw some Surfline video in New Jersey, and they were just getting pummeled with this surf. So this is what happens when a hurricane goes offshore in the East Coast. And our boys and girls, the Puffins, not having it. They're not having it. Splashy camera. Today, no Puffins. Let's see what the Bears are doing. I haven't looked at the Bears since... Oh, that's a big old bugger. I haven't looked at the Bears since last time we talked either. There's a big old guy there. Fish are moving much slower, huh? Yeah, because when I left, the fish were, they were just like ants coming up the slope. Nature's awesome. Okay, so what are we going to do? We got the Picket Fire. I feel pretty good about it based on what I've seen and based on the weather. Air quality, some concerns up around the Napa Valley, but not really. Cooling trend coming. That's going to help everything out. Going to see Dad today. Be back tomorrow. I think I'm going to hit my stride tomorrow. Today was a little bit of like training wheels again. And I hope the audio sounds good and I hope the pictures are good. Let me know about the jellyfish, what you think. Tell a friend, like, subscribe, right? Like, subscribe, arrows. And let me know if you're still here. Because I like this. I like the front part a lot. But I like the back part even more. I had so many interesting thoughts when I was gone. Like I like to, like when I travel, like the best thing about the internet, I was like, Pam and I were like going and I go, well, we were in the Anaconda mine in Montana. And I'm like, well, let me remind me what that is. So you chat GPT, Anaconda mine, and you find out it was a smelting pot in a kiln that they built up over the hill to create, because they're mining copper, and the copper smelt, run or bleed off was horribly toxic, a lot of heavy metals. And they built this big kiln to get up over the inversion. I was looking at that valley going, oh, so they built it in 1922. But I was just like, there's all these cool things I saw. That's just one of them. But that's the best thing about the internet is you can just on the fly go, oh, okay, what's that mean? What's that mean? Like what else were we looking at? All sorts of stuff. Anyway, okay, talk to you soon. Have an awesome day.